Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath. We're thankful this morning that Yah has spared our lives so we can come having heeded his word to worship him in spirit and in truth. Now, this morning's subject is Yah's last word to America. Yah's last word to America. And it's a subject that demands diffidence. It demands respect. We're dealing here with what seems to be the greatest nation on earth. But over the last few years, we have a compelling portraiture of a nation that has flown beyond the perimeter of divine laws. And while seeking to censure those who have shown dissent, the leaders' own infractions against divine utterances are as glaring as the noonday sun. Despite the many candles lit to provide light to the nation by the church, they prefer to walk benignly in darkness. And so this morning, we want to look at this word and this subject in the context of Yah's word, his last word to America. So turn with me in the book of Job, and we will look firstly at the 39th chapter, and we will begin at verse 25. He said to the trumpets, Aha! And he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Thus the hawk fly by thy wisdom and stretch her wings towards the south. Thus the eagle mount up at thy command and make her nest on high. She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she. So this morning we want to look at the eagle. The eagle. Because we have seen that the eagle that is so preeminent among birds of prey and is now the symbol of America, the bald eagle, the symbol of America, gives the impression that it needs an optician. It needs an ophthalmologist to look at his moral retina, because it's at lose sight of its objective in life. And so when the patriarch Job asks the question, thus the eagle mount up on the rock, the question is twofold. speaking here of the bird of prey, but speaking also of the nation America. Does this eagle dwell on the rock of ages? Does this eagle dwell there? Does this eagle drink from the rock, or is this eagle striking the rock? We want to know those answers this morning, because in its politics, the incidences of insolence and impudicity are shamelessly impertinent. And we have been given a backseat in the front row, as I indicated, in that we are the last generation, and we have a front seat because we have seen all the testimonies and all the evidences of the prophets and the disciples. And we now are reading everything, and we have a collective vision of everything that has transpired. And so we're looking at a reality that has not been seen by any other civilization. None. And for some people, this reality dissolves into a novel of rascal. They're rascals. We're not dealing with rascality. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with iniquity. We're dealing with sinfulness. And we watch these events play out in our own homes, in Congress. We watch them play out even in the church. And so, as we listen each day to the malingering duplicity, we see that collectively theirs is a reputation being revealed in the picture of perfidy. We're watching that. And so this morning, we want to look at the eagle. We want to look at the eagle. And if you join me in the book of 2nd ESDRAS, this is the same Ezra you read of in the King James version of the word. And we will dilate a little on chapter 11. Chapter 11. This is a book that they have omitted from the canon of scriptures subsequently, but I have the same book in my 1832 edition of the King James version of scriptures. So we will read from chapter 11. Then saw I a dream, said Ezra, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathers and 3 heads. Strange bird. This bird, this eagle, in his dream, Ezra wants us to know it had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her and were gathered together. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers and small. Stay with me, because this is an end time prophecy. This is an end time book, and it is for the people of the end time to understand the word that is being spoken here. But our heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon the earth and over them that dwelt therein. And I saw that all things under her heaven were subject unto her, and no man spoke against her, no, not one creature upon the earth. Now, this eagle is an interesting bird of prey. But the writer here is not talking about an ordinary eagle, it's talking about a kingdom that is being referred to as an eagle. The eagle has, from the point of this vision, 12 feathers and then 8 smaller feathers. So we have a sum of 20 feathers, and these feathers must be translated into rulers. So if we understand that, we will see what the prophecy is trying to teach us. So we can understand at what point this kingdom is scheduled for decline, as in the case of Babylon of old, and followed by Media Persia, Greece, and Rome. We have said here that the average years for an empire is about 250 years. And this nation in which we currently reside is 248 years since independence. And so inquiring minds are asking, are we now at that stage where this evil kingdom is in decline? We're asking that question, and only Yah can provide the answer to that question. But he had sent his prophecy out, and it is for us to search the scriptures, because in them we have life, and we know they testify of him. So let's read on. We're still in chapter 11, I should say, now at verse 7. And beheld, and lo, the eagle rose up on the talon and spake to her feathers, saying, watch not all at once, sleep everyone in his own place, and watch by course. But let the heads be preserved for the last. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And I numbered her contrary feathers, and behold, there were 8 of them. So we have 12 large feathers and 8 small feathers, so 20. But as I indicated earlier, these represent kings or leaders. And I looked, and behold, all 8 sides there arose, on the right side there arose 1 feather, and reigned over all the earth. And so it was that when it reigned, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following up and reign and had a great time. And it happened that when it rained, the end of it came also like as the first, so that it appeared no more. Then came there a voice unto it and said, Hear thou that hast borne rule over the earth, so long this I say unto thee, before thou beginnest to appear no more, there shall none after thee attain unto thy time, neither unto the half thereof. It's telling you the second ruler, the second king during the Spirit is going to reign, is going to rule longer than all the other 19. And we will see that in a minute. Then arose a third and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So went it with all the residue, one after another, as that every one reigned and appeared no more. So the word is letting us know there is a kingdom. There is a kingdom coming, and this kingdom is referred to in the word as an eagle, as an eagle. And the eagle has 3 heads, 3 heads. And we are at pains to understand what is being said to us here. The eagle has 3 heads, but we want to know who the eagle is. That's first and foremost. We want to know who the eagle really is. And so if you want to know, turn with me to chapter 12. Because in chapter 12 of ESDRAS, second ESDRAS, chapter 12, if we begin to read, because the interpretation is given, so we don't have to conjecture. The word says, and he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision by thy brother Daniel. You get that? The vision that is shown to Ezra here is the same vision that Daniel saw, because the word goes on to say, but it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto you. Behold, the days will come that there shall arise a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign after another, whereof a second shall begin to reign, and shall have reigned more time than any of the 12. Did you get that? So ESDRAS is wanting us to know that we ought to look to the end time where a kingdom, a nation is going to come and reign, and it's going to be the most feared of all kingdoms upon the earth. But as I read that and I begin to think, and I mean pensively to get a greater grip on what the word is telling me here, I stumbled across a statement made by Benjamin Franklin, who wrote, and I will quote to you, He said, I wish that the bald eagle had not been chosen as a representative of our country, speaking of America. He is a bird of bad moral character. He does not set his living honestly. You may have seen is perched on some dead tree, where, too lazy to fish for himself, he watches the labor of the fishing hawk. And when that diligent bird has at length taken a fish and is bearing it to its nest for the support of his mate and young ones, the bald eagle pursues him and takes it away from him. Besides, he is a rank coward. The little kingbird, not bigger than a sparrow, attacks him boldly and drives him out of the district. He is therefore by no means a proper emblem for the brave and honest. No, he's not. For a truth, the turkey is in comparison a much more respectable bird, and with a true original native of America, a bird of courage, and would not hesitate to attack a grenadier of the British Guards who would presume to invade his farmland with a red coat on. The eagle is a rank coward. And Franklin says that it's not worthy to be used as an emblem for America. But we wonder here, is Ezra talking about America? And we want to trace this through the word. We want to trace this through the word, because as we watch events, the idea prevails that somebody somewhere is going to come and make America great again. The idea prevails. But as we watch, it seemed to us that the bird is here flying with wounds, and the wounds are self-inflicted on this bird, and it's about to detonate its feathers. We're seeing this as we watch. And so the future for this eagle is portentously poised as we watch pensively the events that are taking place. And so we want to look at this nation, this eagle with his eyes, its greatest assets, seemed now to be filled with cataracts and is unable to see morally and ethically. And so this bird is flying blindly, so it seems, blindly. And so this is what Esdras said of the bird, because the bird was now spoken to by a lion. And the lion here that speaks to the bird is not one from the jungle, but we're dealing with the Lion of Judah. The Lion of Judah. And so come with me to the verse 40 of chapter 11 of 2nd Esdras. And the fourth came and overcome all the beasts that were passed. We're told that this beast, this bird, this eagle, is the fourth kingdom spoken of in the book of Daniel, which we will go to in a minute. But I just want you to understand this. It says that power is great. And the people fear that power. And it compassed the whole earth. but it has done so with great wickedness. That's the word of Yah. It compassed the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. Wow. So when you put the words of Benjamin Franklin, and when you juxtapose them or compare them with the words of Esdras, shivers come to us as we contemplate the nation in which we live. Verse 41, for the earth as thou not judged with truth. Eagle, you did not judge the earth with truth. Remember, the eagle here is a kingdom that will come in the end time and would reign as the greatest of all the kingdom. It's powerful. Its military might is such that you cannot plummet. Its wealth, economic wealth, is such that it has no peer, meaning its economic and political wealth is such, and power is such, that it perches on the top of a tree that no other nation is able to fly to. That's the nation that we're dealing here with. Verse 41 again, for the earth as thou not judged with truth. So regardless of what you hear politicians saying, and even church leaders, we have to, with great diffidence, study the word here. Verse 42, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, wow, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did there no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. We have just gone through Pride Month, the month of June, and Yah is saying, I've noticed your pride. It has come up unto me. The highest also hath looked upon thy proud times, and behold, they are ended. Wow. Did you hear that? This is the lion speaking, saying your time has ended, and his abominations are fulfilled, and therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy harmful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. Wow. The lion here doesn't seem to have anything good to say about the eagle, regardless of what politicians are saying. Now, as we read through chapter 11, the emphasis is on the second leader. So if we can plumb the second leader, we can know when the time began with the 20 leaders that were going to lead to the end time. So if we look through the history of America, which is called the eagle, we come to the point of Franklin D. Roosevelt. This is the only president who has ruled 4 terms. He won 4 terms, but he died serving at the start of his 4th term. And after he died, amendment was passed that no president will serve more than 2 terms. And so what ESDRAS is telling us here, that this second man, this second leader, this second king, he ruled greater, a longer time than any of the other presidents. And we see that in history. So if we know that he Franklin D. Roosevelt was the second president, then we obviously know who the first is. The one before him was Herbert Hoover. And so as we count those feathers presented to us by ESDRAS, we're understanding that America is in trouble. If this prophecy is correct, and as we look down the history as presented to us by Ezra, is telling us Herbert Hoover was the start. Franklin D. Roosevelt was the one who served 4 terms. Then we have Harry Truman, we have Dwight D. Eisenhower, we have John Kennedy. And in fact, as we read through, it says 2 of them would perish. 2 of the feathers of the wing would perish. 2 of the feathers of this eagle would perish. And so we understand that to be Nixon and also who? Kennedy. We understand that. So we have John Kennedy, we have Lyndon B. Johnson, we have Richard Nixon, we have Gerald Ford, we have Jimmy Carter, we have Ronald Reagan, we have George H.W. Bush, and we have Bill Clinton. So that would fulfill the first 12 feathers. But the word says here that 8 feathers came up after. These are small feathers. But 2 from that came over and served. So that would be the 14th feather in that would be Barack Obama. And after Barack Obama, we had who? Who did we have? Donald Trump. The last Trump. And so it makes sense that as this Trump blows its horn, the people who have remained dead should rise up now, because the prophecy is trying to tell us something. And after Donald Trump, we have Mr. Biden, and it seems that the nation is now biding its time. So that's 16. So we're now into 16 of 20. So am I to understand that we are 4 presidents away from the end of this eagle? That's what ESDRAS here seeming to be saying. And as we read this and we look through this, we must pull back our moral levers, because the word here says this vision that Ezra saw was the same vision that Daniel saw, your brother Daniel. So come with me to the book of Daniel, and we will take a look of chapter 7. But because I'm reading from the chronological Bible here, it's chapter 5 in my Bible, but chapter 7 in yours. And the word says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake, said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle wing, and some would say this is talking about Babylon. Yes, Babylon did have the emblem of a lion. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast came up like a bear, and raised up itself as one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth, and it between its teeth it was like powerful, and came to devour much flesh. And after that, lo, another like a leopard, which had up on its back 4 wings. And, people have said this has to do with the Greek Empire, in that it was to do with Alexander and the 4 generals that came after him. But our emphasis here is on the 4th beast. And after this, in the night visions, I beheld the 4th beast, dreaded and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with its feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Understand where the Roach wants to take you with this description. It says this beast had all the characteristics of the other beast: strong exceedingly, iron teeth. And we read in ESDRAS that nobody would take on this beast. This beast spread its wings, flew all over the world, but in so doing, it invested in wickedness and not in the kingdom of Yah. That's the word. And so we are soberly hearkened this morning as we look into this word. And the subject is, as I remind you, Yah's last word to America. Yah's last word to America. So it says, this beast came up from the sea. But I want to take you to Revelation chapter 13, because the point here is this same beast came up from the earth before, meaning it was sparsely populated at the time that America was formed, but because it's now so peopled with human beings, John is telling us in chapter 17 and verse 15 of Revelation that these are people. So when it's people, it's sea, it's waters. But I want to throw this out for your consideration, because many scholars and theologians have come to agree that this 4th beast here of Daniel is the Roman Empire. That's what they say. But Daniel, the very same Daniel, told us in chapter 2 that the image that had that 4 kingdoms has 2 feet. And we know that Diocletian was the one who split the empire of Rome. And so Daniel wants us to know that there was 1 foot, which is the western foot, that remained in the west, and there was 1 foot that remained in the east when the headquarters was taken from Rome and placed in Istanbul, Constantinople. So we're still on track. And we know historically that Rome was a ruler all over, including England. Rome ruled England, and England paid tax to Rome. We know that. We also know that England is called the Three Lions. And if we go to Daniel chapter 7 again, chapter 5 in my book, and we read verse 3, it says, and four great beasts came up out of the sea, diverse from one another. Verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle wings. The first was like a lion having eagle wings. We know that this eagle, America, came out of England, came out of the lion. We know that. And so could ESDRAS, looking at that western foot with 5 toes on it, you can't put all the 10 toes on one foot, is telling us that this is the same Roman Empire that was split up, unfolding itself through England, through America, that has now come up out of the sea of people. Is he telling us that? And the earth. It says this beast reigned all over the earth. Now we've got to understand what earth means. The context usually provides the answer to that. And so come with me to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, the sister read earlier in verse 7 when she told us that war broke out in heaven. Is that what she said? War broke out in heaven. And there was great fighting in heaven. And Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought with the angels. And prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. And the great dragon, this is Satan, was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. Hear me. The word says the devil, Satan, was cast into the earth. And very often when we read this, we read it as if the earth is this amorphous kind of place. But I believe the angel here is dealing with a location called the earth, rather than the earth as a whole structure. Are you with me? And let's read again for emphasis. And the great dragon was cast out, the whole serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Eloah, and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accuses them before Eloah day and night. You notice he doesn't sleep? He's accusing us day and night. So we're told that the dragon was cast out into the earth, and he persecuted the woman. Who's the woman? The church. He persecuted the woman which brought forth a man-child. So the church, or the woman there in the original, is Yisrael. And the same woman, Israel, that became the church, so to speak, is one system of belief. Should never have changed, not denomination. Every time you accept Yeshua and you baptize in his name, you are an Israelite. That's the woman we're dealing with, not denominations, not churches. So Satan here was persecuting the woman. We're talking now of the Reformation period, and the Reformation period here is the church of Sardis. We've got to understand that. And so it persecuted the woman who brought forth a man-child. The man-child is Yeshua, as you well know. And to the woman were given two wings. Did you hear me? Unto the woman were, I'm reading Revelation chapter 12, and to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle. Did you get that? We're dealing with this eagle. The church was given what? Two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and alpha time, and the face of the serpent. Now, if we're dealing with the Church of the Reformation, then you know we're dealing with Sardis, as I indicated earlier. And so when the persecution broke out in Europe, and the people from Holland, from Britain, from Germany, from all over Europe came on the Mayflower and on other ships, shall we call them hardships? When they came here, they came to America. The eagle. That's the word. It's in the word. These are not my words. It's in the word. It says the woman, the persecuted church that fled from Europe, the pilgrim, the Lollards, and all these people, they fled from Europe and they came by way of the eagle. They came to America. That's what it says, where they were nourished. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water. That water is people. Again, Revelation 17 and verse 15. As a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Listen to me, verse 17. And the earth. It's talking now of a location. It must be talking about a location, because it says that the pilgrims came by way of the eagle to a location. That's America. That's where they came. Historically, we can see that. They came to America. And the earth helped the woman. The woman was not helped in other places at that particular time, the Church of Sardis. It was America who helped the woman. The eagle helped the woman. They came here by way of help from the eagle, the same eagle that Ezra is talking about, and the same fourth beast, it seemed, that Daniel spoke about in chapter 7. That's what we're dealing with. Let's read it again for emphasis. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth, and the dragon was wroth with the woman. Why is the dragon wroth? Because all those people who came to America, all the members of the churches that came to America, most of them were doing worship in the way that the Roman Empire did worship on the first day of the week. But Satan seemingly, well, not seemingly, it says here that he was not so much concerned about those people, but here he's angry with those who keep the commandment, including the feast days, the seventh-day Sabbath, and have the testimony of Yeshua. These are the people that he's concerned about. So we're dealing with an eagle, as we know, that is an emblem of America on its seal, its great seal. And we just read what one of his presidents said regarding the bald eagle, that he did not like that emblem because that bird is wicked. And it seems to corroborate, or I should say, ESDRAS corroborate what Benjamin Franklin has said. So we can't get away from that history. We can't. And so Yah is letting us know that he takes note of what America is doing. And therefore, it drives me to the book of Isaiah. Will you join me there? the book of Isaiah, the prophet. And we're going to look at chapter 24. And the word says here, behold, Yahweh maketh the land empty, and laid it waste. He maketh the earth empty. It's the same earth, a location, not the whole earth. The prophet wants you to know that America has a rendezvous with Yah. That's what he's saying. Yah has given America great rule, wealth beyond measure, power beyond anything else that we have seen or read about on the earth. Military might blessed America greatly. No one can deny that. All good blessings come from Yah. But, like ancient Babylon, the thought prevails, we will make America great again. And we read in Daniel 4 that Nebuchadnezzar said, is not this the Babylon that I built? And the word said, the very moment that his utterances left his lips, the kingdom was taken from him, and he was shunted out to become a vegetarian for 7 years. Did you read that? You know what? It makes sense, does it not? That we should look at it for ourselves. Come with me to the book of Daniel chapter 4. So we do draw the parallels. Draw the parallels. Because I'm simply asking questions. You know, as I indicated earlier, I come with diffidence. Greater men than I have looked at this subject, and some have drawn blank. And I don't presume to have all the answers. This is why I rely on the word of Yah. Are you with me? Daniel chapter 4. Because the word wants us to know that Daniel had counseled him and made it aware to him that he ought to humble himself. In verse 27 of the word here in the chronological Bible, chapter 4 of Daniel, it says, wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquity by shewing mercy to the poor, and it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. Listen to what I'm saying. What if America had listened to the word of Yah? I've said it before that I believe that the world would fear a more righteous America than it would a military America. Now, as we read in Ezra that it has 3 heads. And you may be wondering, what are these heads? Now, I would posture, to suggest that the heads are the 3 branches of government: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and, help me, the legislative branch, of course. Now, in the Constitution, they say that these are co-equal. But that's not really true, is it? I would say Congress is more superior. Congress makes laws. The others don't. Congress can impeach the others. They can impeach Congress. And so we're told that this sleeping head will soon come to the fore. And we're wondering whether it will come to the fore in this election. And the reason I'm throwing that out, it says, Nebuchadnezzar said, is not this the Babylon that I built? We read earlier that the lion was the emblem of Babylon. So we're dealing with a last day Babylon. Could that be America, as we have said? And we have a people saying, we're going to make America great again. Could it be that Yah is hearing this and he's taking note? And the reason I'm saying this is simply this. The word says that after he said that, the kingdom was taken from him. And for 7 years, this man was out in the wilderness. Are you with me? Of course, if you understand that, then you will understand this. The date was January the 20th, 2017. It was a Friday morning when President Trump was inaugurated for office. What am I saying? It's 7 years since. He's been in the wilderness, political wilderness. And he has suffered much. No one can deny that he's gone through much. It is a kind of wilderness that he has gone through. And so the question now, is it possible that we have seen this, we're watching this, and is Yah going to restore him to power like he did Nebuchadnezzar? We don't know. But we're asking these questions because inquiring mind wants to know. And may I take you back on the same day when he was inaugurated, he was 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old. And his first day in office, full day that is, was the 7th day of the week, which was a day like today, the 7th day Sabbath. His first speech was 77 minutes. It's too much of a coincidence to be one, to be a coincidence. He won, he beat Hillary Clinton by 77 electoral college votes. And now this man has reached his 10th heptatic years, and he's moving into his octad to become an octogenarian. He's 78, to put it mildly. And so I'm seeing all this coming together. Benjamin Franklin, Ezra, Daniel, Revelation. What are we to make of it? Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 24. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and laid it waste, and plowed its surface, and scattered abroad its inhabitants thereof. Now hold it there. Let's reason. He's saying, Yah says he's going to make the earth empty. You read that in your word. But he's going to scatter the people abroad. If the earth was going to be made empty and nobody living on the earth, where is abroad? Are we talking about other planets? That's why I concluded earlier that the earth here is not the full scope of the earth, but a location of the earth called America, called the eagle, that we read off in chapter 12, that the church, when it fled from Europe, came to the earth and was helped by the eagle. We've got to see that. We've got to understand that. And it shall be as with the people. You remember earlier when we read in ESDRAS 11, it says, when the eagle spoke, it spoke not from its feather, his feathers, but he spoke from the body. How does America, we say, in a democracy, the power relies with the people. We, the people, the body, not the head. So we elect these people to represent us, and so they speak for the body. That's what ESDRAS wants us to know. And so come back to Isaiah. I'm just reasoning with you because it's a fireside chat. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land, the earth shall be utterly what? Emptied. Now think again. If the earth is going to be made empty, all of it, and nobody living on the earth, which is what conclusion some have drawn, and that they're going to go to heaven and leave the earth empty. That's not what he's saying. It's talking about a location, a particular place. We've got to understand that. It's written in Revelation chapter 12. So he's going to empty the earth and utterly spoil, for Yahweh had spoken the word. And if you were like Abraham, you would ask the question and say to Yah, but Yah, the judge of all the earth, are you going to destroy the wicked with the righteous? Are you going to do that? Surely you're not going to be able to do. You shouldn't be able to do. Verse 4, the land mourneth, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and faded away. Did you see that? Let me try that again because you missed it. It says, the earth mourneth and faded away. The world language. Makes a distinguish between the earth here and what? The world. It's a location. Let's read it again. The earth mourneth and faded away. The world languisheth and faded away. And 80 people of the land do the language. Did you see that again? It comes back to the earth. He talks about the world, but he wants you to know the earth or the land is context by, it's fenced in by the world. It is a geographic location in the world, but the earth is not the world. It's a different place. We've got to see that. Otherwise, we miss the very essence of what the prophecy is trying to talk about. The land also is defiled unto the inhabitants thereof. Why is it defiled? I said earlier that the eagle has lost sight. You know, we need an optician to look at its moral retina. Cataracts are such that they've clouded the eagle's vision. It says the land is defiled under the inhabitants thereof because they have transgressed the laws and changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Did you get that? The everlasting covenant that Yah made with Noah in chapter 9 and cast a rainbow over the sky with many colors to say, I will not hurt the earth again with water. Those colors today of the rainbow, they represent something else that relates to pride. They've cast down the laws, changed the ordinances. Yah says one man should be married to one woman. The Supreme Court, all 9 justices, have come to the, well, not necessarily all 9, but collectively they have come to say it is all right for 2 people of the same gender to get married. They've cast down the ordinances. The 7th-day Sabbath is no longer kept by many people. But Yah wants you to know there are 2 institutions that were established in paradise, and no man can tread them underfoot. You can try. That's marriage and the 7th-day Sabbath. Both were made in paradise, and these are the 2 most affected by the laws of the land. The eagle is flying without sight. That's what we're reading here. That's what we need to understand in the Word. So let's go back to chapter 12 of Second ESDRAS. Second ESDRAS. Because it's quite a serious matter. The eagle, verse 11, whom thou sawest come up from the sea, is the kingdom which was seen in the vision by your brother Daniel. But it was not expounded to him as I'm giving it to you now. Behold, the days will come that there shall be a kingdom on earth, and it shall be feared above all kingdoms. I mean, come on. It's kind of elementary, isn't it, that America is the greatest empire, the greatest kingdom on earth, isn't it? Is there one greater? Well, history has made no mention of it. Whereof the second shall begin to reign and shall have more time than any of the 12. So we read that, and we said it was the president who had four terms. We've said that. But in verse 20, it says that in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose time shall be but small, and their years swift, and 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until the very end. 4 will be kept to the very end. Begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept until the end. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In this last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms and renew many things therein, and they shall have dominion of the earth. They shall have dominion of the earth. Is it meaning the earth globally, or is it meaning the earth location, America, the eagle? What are we talking about? And if it's talking about the 3 branches of government, then it has to be the earth, the location, the eagle, America. And those that dwell therein with much oppression, did you hear that? Oppression is coming on the eagle, on America. Despite what you hear, the government is saying, the people are saying, the prophecy is saying, oppression is coming. And your liberator is not the politician. Your liberator is Yeshua. All glory be to him. It's all of him and none of us. We've got to understand that. Above all those that were before them, therefore, as they call the heads of the eagle. And perhaps what we're seeing here is that these heads, whether it's the executive, whether it's the judicial, or whether it's the legislative, they're going to wake up. They're bound to wake up because they can see that the country is going awry and the eagle is flying without feathers. That's what's happening here. We've got to understand that. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness. Wow. Did you hear me? Those that are coming, remember, the prophet tells us at 20, starting from Hoover, all the way down. Obama was the 14th, Trump the 15th, Biden the 16th. He says they shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. Wow. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signified that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. Wow. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas thou sawest two feathers on the, remember the feathers are leaders, the wings passing over the head that is on the right, it signifies that these are they whom the highest hath kept unto their hand. Now, it seems to me that these small feathers, the end time feathers, what SHABBAT is saying, they're going to be one-term leaders rather than two terms. Maybe that's what he's saying. And therefore, it was no great surprise when, the current president decided he would not run again he had to come out because the prophet says it's a small feathers. It's in the word. It's here. If you could see it, it's here. And so ESDRAS has been given the interpretation of it, and it should catch our attention. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear what the word says. It's saying that. Wow. This is amazing, isn't it? It says here in verse 32, this is the anointed which, well, let's read from verse 31. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood. This is in chapter 12. Because the essence is a lion versus an eagle. You got to understand what I'm saying. I'm saying a lion is king of the jungle. And the eagle is the most preeminent of the birds of prey. So the lion here is speaking to the eagle. So you think you're a bad man, eh? Kind of way. Let's read it again for your benefit. Verse 31. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood and roaring, Lion of Judah, and speaking to the eagle and rebuking her. Who is rebuking the eagle? For her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard. This is the anointed. You didn't hear me. I said the Lion of Judah, Yeshua, is the one here speaking to the eagle America and chastising America, which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them and shall upbraid them with their cruelty, for he shall set them before him alive in judgment and shall rebuke them and correct them. Wow. Of course, your minds will come back to the days of slavery. You remember those days when the people were lynched. You remember those days when they sang, swing low, sweet chariot. Who is coming to carry us home? A chariot is coming to, but he's here. The lion is here. The Lion of Judah is here. And he's chastised. He said, I'm going to judge them for all of this because your blood, all the bloods of the saints and the bloods of the slave, they cry out to me, even as the blood of Abel cries out to me from the ground. He said, I'm going to judge them for their wickedness. Are you with me? So be patient with the process, saying, that's what he's saying. This is scary. For the rest of my people shall be delivered with mercy. Did you hear that? I will find a Zor for you. I will find a place in Egypt. And so even when the plagues come and the earthquake come and the hurricane come, they won't bother you. That's what he's saying. I will find a place for you. Wow. This is the dream that thou sawest. And these are the interpretation. Thou only has been meet to know the secrets of the hide. Only you, ESDRAS, I've given this to. I didn't tell it to Daniel. Did you hear that? It was not expounded to Daniel as I am now giving it to you. Therefore, what shall I do with it? You can almost hear ESDRAS thinking, And I mean pensively. So you're giving this to me. What is the purpose? Well, verse 37, therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in the book and hide them. Did you hear that? Hide them and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets. So they take it out of the book. Of course they have to do. Hide them. Don't put it in the canon. Hide them. But wait thou here thyself for 7 days more, that it may be showed thee whatsoever it pleaseth the highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I am not come again into the city, they gathered them all together, from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me and said, what have we offended thee? And the evil have we done against thee, that thou forsakest us and sittest here in this place? For all the prophets thou only hast left us as the cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in the dark place, and as a haven of ship preserved from the tempest. Esdras, of all the prophets, you are like unto us a lifeboat in the harbor where the storm is raging. You're the candle. Why? Because all the other prophets, some of them false, they didn't get this. Like today, there is a famine in the land. You're not getting this. The people are in a desert, and there is no oasis. There is no candle, because Revelation chapter 18 in verse 22 and 23, so the candle has gone out. And if the candle has gone out and the bridegroom, the lion, is no longer on speaking term with the church, then you know the people are in darkness. And so if you're not getting your information from heaven, you got to be getting them somewhere else. And most people are getting them from politicians. But the word says the Lion of Judah speaks to the eagle and say, your time is up. The last word of Yah to America is in here in Esdras, the word. It's there in the book. Yah's last word to America. It's time to get on our knees and pray for our leaders, pray for the country, pray for ourselves, pray for the idling churches. We got to pray, because it's telling you how many presidents have been earmarked to lead us to the end. It's here. May we grasp this soberly and prayerfully. Seek Yah's face. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen.